If you try to sell me a video package, I will not buy. If you tell me you're going to help me make more revenue, get more customers, I'll be listening.
What? You didn't have a portfolio, you didn't have logos.
I don't give a fuck. A logo is not the decision maker. I don't even know what your logo looks like. I don't care. You don't talk about your video packages. You talk about their problems. You've got to get yourself out of delivery because you can't be shooting every day and doing sales. That next 40, 50 to 100K is actually pulling yourself out of the business. If you want to make revenue, you've got to think like a business owner. I've been in some really dark places that I don't wish upon anyone.
Those dark moments, they're gonna build your story.
A couple of years later, I've got an amazing business. I've got an amazing partner right now, but it was those hard times is where it is.
You need the conflict.
Trust the process. The more you trust it, the more you get to receive the lessons. You need the difficult times to make a great story. Trust your journey is the best piece of advice I've received.
If you're new here, my name is Nelson and I'm the host of the Creative Grid podcast, a space committed to help creative entrepreneurs become successful in all areas of life. We normally have extraordinary individuals as guests. Today is no exception. Today's guest, I'll tell you, I'm very pumped for this one because filmmakers and creatives are gonna get tons of value. So I highly suggest that you pay a lot of attention today and get some notes because this man is about to spit so much fucking value on this episode. No pressure, bro. Today's guest is a business coach for videographers and filmmakers. Please welcome the legend, Ayrton. Did I pronounce that okay?
You did. You got it, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the pod, bro.
Now I got to live up to the value I got to spit here.
Yeah. And before we get into all the juicy stuff, for people that have no idea who you are you, Ayrton? Like, give us the backstory of how you got to where you are right now.
Cool. So my name's Ayrton. So I'm a business coach, but that wasn't my first career step. So I used to be a filmmaker, videographer. I still film, but my backstory is, I used to work in a petrol station in 2016. I started watching Casey Neistat online. This is when I got inspired to do video. Growing up as a kid, I was always around business and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I wanted to start a business. I didn't know until what I wanted to do. So working at a service station, started watching Casey Neistat. I was like, man, video is something I should do. I remember my ex-girlfriend at the time was like, you should start a video business. So I started filming, got into that, and like fast forward a couple of years, like I can tell a full story, but short story, I learned marketing and sales is my skill point, not the filming in that. And that's where what I do now and what I love and what I actually do is help people with their marketing and the sales, which is filmmakers, which is my skill set. I don't understand the video side, but the marketing and the sales was what I fell in love with, which is where I get to work with guys like you and all the amazing clients that we have and work on the shit that they suck at.
Yeah. And I can approve that his service is top level because I've been working with him for just 2 months now. So, and we have gotten great results since we started working with you. So yeah, bro, hats off to you for what you're doing. You're crushing it. Why did you decide to go towards the marketing side of things? Like, what about that was more exciting to you compared to making the videos itself?
So yeah, when I first started my first production business, which was 2017 with a business partner, like I remember being inspired by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak kind of thing in business. And I remember when I first started my first business, I wasn't really good at filming. So I met my business partner at the time, which was fucking incredible, like a great filmmaker. And he sucked at the marketing and sales. And I was like, I'm obsessed with that stuff. Why don't we like kind of blend together? You do the filming and like I'll assist with that, but I'll do the marketing and sales. So my love fell into that when I started working with clients because like I started seeing that a lot of the videos that we're creating at the start weren't getting results. And I was like, how do we get fucking results? How do we actually help our customers? So I fell in love with the sales and the marketing side and just invested so much time, energy, learning that for my clients first, but second for me. Not knowing that I was going to turn into a business coach, but like I just wanted to make better videos that, not like the filming side of things, but actually, we had viral videos. We had clients, like one client of ours went from like 1.5 million revenue to 7 million in revenue in like less than 18 months because of the video strategy. And that shit was the stuff that I was excited about. The quality of the videos were 1080p and they were fucking terrible, right? And this is where a lot of my, my filmmaking clients go, oh man, your videos are shit. And I'm proud of that because they've made millions of dollars. Yeah. And I'm like, that's what I fell in love with. So it was learning from my mentors and understanding that there was a gap in the market when I was running my production business that a lot of filmmakers don't understand or videographers didn't understand. It was like, how do you actually get that video seen? How do you actually create a video that gets your customer money? Like, how do you make the money with the videos? Which is what became my obsession. And that's what made me stand out as a filmmaker. So like we did multi six figures in both production businesses that I ran because of that. Not because I was the best filmmaker. It was like, I always found other people to film for me. It was the marketing, the sales part. When I jumped on a call with a customer and I could say, hey, you need these videos here. This is what's going to get you from point A to point B. They didn't care about the quality. They didn't look at my portfolio or anything like that. I mean, I had a portfolio, not to say I didn't have anything, but they looked at the results that I got for customers. So to answer your question, like getting into the marketing sales was naturally because I was gravitating towards that because my business partner took over the filming side and I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, sick. And there is a massive transformation for a filmmaker once they make the switch from I'm not meant to just make really pretty videos. I need these videos to get a return on investment for my clients. Everything has changed for me since I started to understand that concept better. I think it was just before working with you, especially as well, it was almost like, okay, I have exposure to this new perspective on the videos that I'm creating. So now I'm also detaching from a lot of things of like, oh, I need to try to sell the client on, hey, we need to get this shot and this and that, when they don't care. The client doesn't fucking care. The client wants to make money out of the videos that you're making. So some of them might want something different, like building their brand, their reputation. But in the end, most of them, what they want is a return on investment.
Yeah,
that's all they want.
100%.
You know, so they don't really care if the video is shot in 1080 and 4K, how many cool transitions you have. Like there's all the things that will make your video get results for them, other than, you know, a really cool video with awesome cinematic music.
Yeah, there's a really good way to explain that as well. It's like I remember seeing a video from Alex Samosi, and it was related to sales, but this is something like I think most videographers and filmmakers still don't get, and it's something I talk about every single day, and sometimes I have to re-talk about it. But one of the biggest things I learned from Alex, and even from another mentor of mine, was you need to sell them the destination. You need to sell them where they want to go. So you've got to figure out when you talk to them, what do you want? Like, where do you want to go? Why do you want the videos? Not just, here's the cool looking shot. Like, here's the nice looking B-roll. Like, otherwise you're a commodity. So like, this is what I learned from Alex. There's another guy I learned this early on. And that was a pinnacle thing for me in business. Like the first 6 months of my first video business in 2017 is like, I figured that out. I was like, fuck, we are not selling video. That is the vehicle. We are selling the outcome. So figure out what the fuck your customer wants and sell them that, and then deliver them the outcome. And the really good way to simplify that is like, sell people what they want, give them what they need.
Yes, love that. And it's like, if someone says, I want to go to Hawaii, you sell Hawaii. You don't send the plane.
Yeah.
It's like,
you don't sell them the itinerary and everything on there. You go, so you want to go to Hawaii? How do you want that holiday to be? What's that destination look like for you? Get them excited about that. And they go, wow, yeah, I want to be, you know, sitting on the beach, drinking a pina colada. And you go, right, how amazing would that be for your family to be there as well? And they start envisioning that, and that's the destination. And then you go, sweet. So to get there, you're going to take a flight, and this is how much it's going to cost. And then they're thinking about the holiday still. It's the same with video. Like you think about any business you work with, most of them want to generate new revenue. Some want to build their brands or reach more customers. Status is a huge thing, become the go-to. Like even a podcast, for example, like an offer that you sell, people want to be the authority. They want to stand out. They don't give a fuck how many episodes they do. Well, however they get there, it's what.
How do we get there? That's all they care about.
They only care. It's like, can we get there? Sweet, sell me that. If that's 20 videos or that's one video, doesn't matter to the customer. Like if someone comes to me, try to sell me something, if you try to sell me a video package and that's all you sell me, I will not buy. If you tell me that we're going to take you to 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers, and look, those are some big claims, but say you're going to help me make more revenue, get more customers, and you talk about that, the destination of where I want to go, I'll be listening. You know, that's how I've worked with my clients. Like even when I talk to my clients, I don't talk about, they don't want coaching. Like no one comes to me saying, I fucking want coaching, bro. Like, you know, some people do, it's very rare, but it's like, you know, when you go to a PT, you don't go to the PT because you're like, you know what, I want a PT because I want to do like a session a week. You know, you go there because you've got a goal in mind. I'll lose weight, or you're going to get a six pack, do some pull-ups, do a higher bench press, whatever your goal is, you go there. So the PT will sell you on that if they're really good. If they're not, they should listen to this podcast. Selling the destination. So that's a I think that's a big thing that filmmakers and videographers don't do. You know, and I was guilty in the first few months of my business. I was thankful I learned it very quickly because I started learning marketing and sales. And that was the reason why our business grew really quickly. Like we did 6 figures in our first business within 6-7 months. That was with the business partners. It wasn't profit. Like, you know, people don't look at that. It was still great. We grew that to multi-6, and then I sold the business and then started another one across in Perth and did the exact same thing. No website, no logo, no portfolio, just a PDF of what I was offering, but I was selling a destination.
So someone is wondering right now, wait, what? You didn't have a portfolio, you didn't have a show reel, the logos.
Yeah.
So how do you do this, Ayrton? How do you do this?
So the simple way to explain it, and you know, it's something that you're doing yourself, is you've got to figure out who you want to work with and what is it they want. Let's say like we're talking about the destination. You've got to sell the destination. And that's hard to sell when you don't know who you're talking to. So the same for me, like I work with filmmakers. I know what their desires are, their fears, their stresses. Like whenever I jump on a sales conversation, and if you're listening to this podcast, you jump on a call, I already know your problems, but tell me your problems and I'll walk through what they are, right? You've got to understand your customers' problems. What are they facing? What are the challenges? Because if you can understand that, then they feel understood. They're going to go, wow, you actually have a solution to solve my problem. And this is where they forget about you not having a logo because they're not actually thinking about that because the logo is not the decision making. Like, I don't give a fuck about, I don't even know what your logo looks like. I don't care. I want to know if I can connect with you and the person there. So the way to do it is you got to figure out first of all who you want to work with and what problem you're going to solve. So singular is the best way. So think about a singular problem. Maybe it's getting more customers or building their brand. Then maybe it's gyms, or maybe it's personal trainers, or maybe it's real estate, maybe it's business coaches, like whatever. There's so many markets out there. You just got to pick one and just decide you're going to work with that. A really good time frame is to pick it for 90 days. It's like if you're going to stick with anything, don't flip flop like Alex Hormozi talks about in his book $100 Million. Don't freaking jump to niches every second day. It's a big thing people do. They go, oh, ooh, real estate over there. My mate's doing real estate. I'll go jump in that and I'll do that. Oh no, coaches or construction. Then they flip around and they get stuck in this limbo land. You never actually get to learn the customer's problems because a real estate agent's problem is different to a construction business, same as a business coach. And the way I talk to filmmakers is different to how I talk to a real estate agent. They may still have the problem of not getting customers, but a real estate agent wants more listings. A filmmaker wants more clients. He wants more video clients, big high paying deals. Different problem. Same problem, but different way of explaining it. So that's the first step, is getting clear on who you want to work with. And you just got to pick one. Most people think, well, I'm going to be stuck in a box. I don't know if you've ever felt this, but I have this conversation every day. They're like, but if I pick one, what if I pick the wrong one?
Yeah.
You can switch, you can change. You're not stuck there, but you need to pick one if you want to grow the business. Like if you want to make revenue, you've got to think like a business owner, which is step one, choose a market. Any marketing sales book I've read from the last, 5 years, 6 years in business, some of the books are from the 60s, early 1900s, like some of the best marketing books. The strategies in them today are still relevant because it's the same process. It's just like dating as well. If you want to find a high quality woman or man, you've got to figure out what qualities you want in them. What are they inspire? What are their desires? What are the values that they need to have? Then the next step is the same with you. You want to go find a client, find out where they hang out. If you want to find a good woman, they're going to be hanging out maybe at the yoga club, or they're going
not at the club.
Well, the yoga
not
studio.
at the club.
They're probably doing things that it depends obviously the woman you're on track for. I'm just using an example, but it's the same with a real estate agent. They're probably going to be hanging out in different areas on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all these kind of platforms. And you go hang out where they hang out and you start talking about their problems. You don't talk about your video packages. You talk about their problems. So what is the problem that say a real estate agent has? Well, they're not known in the market. There's probably 10 or 15 real estate agents in their local area that they're competing against. And they're a commodity. So why do they need video? Well, they need to stand out so they can become the go-to mini celebrity in their local area. So you talk about the fears that they're having. Hey, you're probably, let's just use an example of real estate. You're probably not getting enough listings because you're not standing out. This is why you need to invest in video as a strategy. So you start talking about that. And this is what I used to do. I used to work with coaches. That was my main market for about 4 years. I got viral videos for coaches, got them mass results, made them hundreds of thousands of dollars because I understood that. Then when I jump on a call, I'd always talk about the same thing. And it's crazy. It's just like, I'm having the same freaking conversation. Even today, like when I'm jumping on a call with a filmmaker, I'm like, I fucking love it. Cause I'm like, bro, I know where you're sitting. Sometimes I read out my customer persona on a sales call to someone who's like, is this you? Are you a filmmaker? Between this and this, you're a freelancer right now. You're doing $80,000 to $100,000 a year, maybe a little bit less. This is your number one fear and anxiety is like, you don't have recurring revenue. You're having these up and down months. It feels like, and then they go, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's exactly me. How do you know that you're a psychic?
So like, that's a lot of people, you know, you hear that in every book, marketing book. It's like getting clear on your market is the first step. That is number one step. And this is why, you know, back to the question about not having a website and logo and stuff, I focused more on that and created an offer for people, for my customer, and I solved their problem. So when I would run like a Facebook ad, I'd just talk about the problem. And on the sales call, I'd talk about the problem, and then I'd talk about the solution, the destination where they want to go. And yeah, I had a couple of testimonials and case studies and some viral videos that helped as well. I'd just talk about them, and they'd sign up. And then afterwards, I'd say, hey, look, I don't have a website. And they'd be like,
just to let you know.
Yeah. And I would say that openly to a customer. It's like, I don't have a website. And I deliberately didn't build a website. And this is where I see, because I did it at my first business. This is one of the biggest lessons I learned. And this is hopefully something that can hit. Sometimes it doesn't hit. The first, after about 6 months of my first video business, I started building the website, the systems, and all that stuff. And I took the foot off sales. It's the reason why I had to sell my company in the end. We made good money, but it goes down quick when you take the foot off sales. And this is where a lot of filmmakers make the mistake. They make some money and they have a good month, and then they go tinker on the website, and then they go tinker on the other shit. It feels like they're doing something, but they're not. Like the thing that moves the needle is like getting more
But you're
clients.
not. Yeah.
I mean, someone else might disagree. I 100% agree branding is important. Yes, I have a website now and have that kind of stuff. I'm not saying you don't do that. But I'm saying like in the first 90 to like 6 months, have something basic. Get in front of your customers, solve their problem. That's how you grow. If you create a product, say you create like a 5K package or a 10K package or whatever it is for your customer, and it's like the right thing for them. You know, if you want to do 6 figures, you just need to sell how many? If you got a 10K package, how many? 10.
Yeah, and it became very clear to me. I wasn't grasping the concept really well until I realized, like, wait, he's selling the same exact thing. He's having the same exact conversations. How can you not be a master at it if you know exactly the same problem they all have? They all articulate it in a different way. You probably are even better at articulating the problem for them. Because you talking to it, I'm pretty sure some people will be like, oh fuck yeah, that's exactly. I didn't know how to explain it. Yeah, this guy understands me really well. So you instantly build a lot of trust and connection with the prospect. That's awesome. I'm curious, for someone that is getting just started, what's your perspective in? I'm just getting started. I'm loving videos. I want to get into it. Should I focus on mastering the craft, or should I focus on marketing and sales? Like, what do you think is the action plan for someone that is completely raw?
So first of all, get clear on what your goal is. So if you want to be a creative, you might spend more time getting better at the video side, if that's your goal. If your goal is to build a business, you need to think like a business owner from the start. Not a freelancer, think like a business owner, which is a paradigm shift for a lot of people. So you might learn the basic skills that you need to get the actual outcome a customer wants. So for me, when I first started out, I learned just how to edit, how to light, and how to set up a camera and microphone. I never knew how to color grade. That wasn't really important when I first started out. I shot in a Canon 80D, and I used that camera for years with my clients because the client didn't actually care about it. They only cared about, does this video get me a result? So if you're looking at a business side of things, I would focus on the sales and marketing and really learn. Like, there is a shit ton of books out there. Alex Hormozi's $100 million Offers is probably one of the simplest and best offer creation books. It's not a sales book. It's more of a marketing and offer creation. Understanding the concepts of that will make you millions of dollars. Like, I've made over 7 figures from just the information in that book. That is where I'd start in the marketing and business side. If you want to grow the business and you want to make 6 figures, that would be there. If you want to be a creative and the best filmmaker, go learn the craft and go work for someone. Don't go start a business. Like, go, if you want to learn the creative and you just want to stay in the element, go work for someone else for a bit and learn your creativity through there. Because then you don't have to worry about your bills. Because that's the biggest scare, is like trying to start a business but trying to learn both at the same time. Go master the skills if you don't have it and work from someone else. Learn from someone else in the film. I didn't do that because I didn't actually want to learn the skills to a high level. I never wanted to shoot a Hollywood film. I loved business. That was why I went down my path. So depending on your goal, if you want to make 6 figures and you want to grow a video business, go learn marketing sales. If you want to be a creative and you want to have that freedom to create stuff, go get a job for a filmmaking business or video production business. Yeah, there's plenty out there. A lot of my clients need team right now.
Yeah.
Go get a job and be a student.
Yeah.
Like, learn.
Yeah.
Don't fucking get your ego up there and go, you know what, I'm gonna be the best. You gotta pay me more. Like, go and learn the ropes. Yeah. Even for myself, where like I'm doing some filming this week because I want to get back into the creative side. I'm doing it for free because I want to.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I'm learning color grading. That's because I'm getting my creative element out. I don't want to be paid for that. I want to have fun because I want the creativity to be fun. I don't want it to be a stress.
Yeah.
So, yeah, depending on your goal, pick which lane you're in.
And I think it's important adding to what you just said, like having the awareness and clarity of who exactly you want to be and what kind of life you want to build. Because a lot of people will think easily after, let's say, learning a little bit of business or marketing or sales and all of that, and seeing like, oh, I should be the business owner. I should step up and do this and have people work. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm mentally strong. Yeah. I'm relentless. I'm here to get financial freedom, to have a massive impact in the world. I'm willing to go through all the shit. I don't care. I will fall 10 million times. I'll get up 10 million times. You know, I'm unbeatable.
Yeah.
And even for me, some days I'm like, fuck this shit. It's too much stuff that needs to be done. If I look at just the to-do list, it's overwhelming. You know, all the little things of like, okay, we're having discovery calls, we have sales calls, we have new systems, we need to learn all these new platforms, we're paying more, expenses are going up, we have a new editor, you know, so we need to communicate with him, we need to have SOPs with the entire team, we have the operations manager joining to help, we have the podcast going on, we have clients, we have shoots, we have editing. Someone is getting mad because, you know, deadlines are coming up, we're stressed, like, it's not for everyone.
No.
And the more you climb the ladder, the higher the stakes. So yeah, your reward gets bigger, but you don't want to disappoint those clients because they're paying you a lot of fucking money. You know, so is not for everyone. No. Being the one running the shit is not for everyone. So I think getting the awareness of like, are you best at being a creative? Because then you just need to find a guy that is driven. And then you can add to the team, become, you know, create an unbeatable team. Someone a company that is going to dominate because they have the creative on point. They have someone that is a master of the craft, but then you have the other person that is hunting, you know, to get the leads in, to close the deals, to make sure that everything's running smoothly, to add into you as a creative as well. Like, hey, what do you need? You know, I'm always with my guy now. I'm like, how can I make his life, you know, easier? How can I make everything run smoother? How can we get him to the next level? You know, like it's been such a fascinating journey so far. And now like getting clear of like, okay, I can see the clear path of how are we going to get to where we're trying to go? What do we need to do? And now, you know, having people as well, mentors, coaching to be like, that can see almost a few steps ahead of you and tell you like, hey, watch out, this is coming ahead. You know, this might not be the best road. Maybe go here. So before we get into the coaching side of things, because I think that's very important too. So we just took from someone that is getting started. Yeah. I think the next in between in there is someone that is making 10 to 15K a month. That problem is very different to get into the 40s plus a month, right? So for someone that is stuck between 10, 15, what should they do? They're like, fuck, I'm working, things are happening, I do get clients, it's not consistent, but we're roughly coming between 10 and 15. But I want to get to the next level. Yeah. What should they do?
So there's I feel like there's different levels in business. It's like hitting that 10K months, and that's like the first milestone, which is like 6 figures, right? Which when you first start out seems like a lot. In business, it's fucking
sounds great.
It sounds great. It's fucking not a lot. If your first goal is, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Your first goal is 10K months. I applaud you. When you get there, you're gonna be like, "Fuck, this is not enough money," because you're not having like taxes. You know, like if you bring on small team members, there's a lot of expenses, even at that point. So someone who's at that next point, that's 10 to 15, right? And you feel like you're stuck. I remember being at this point. I remember one of my friends triggered me when I was at this point because I was on a plateau. 2020, I was on a plateau. I was doing like 15, 20K a month consistently, and it kind of kept going up. down, up, down. It never like broke the ceiling. Maybe I had a 30K month, but that was very rare. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And at the moment I was like just myself, and I had like a contractor to edit and film for me every now and then. I'd pay him when I had money, but I wouldn't keep him around when I didn't have money. So this is the thing that I realized, because one of my friends said it to me. One of my mentors, salespersons, actually said to my friend, this is what triggered me. He's like, I thought Ayrton would be further along the track.
You say that,
And I was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, took a second. I was like, you're right. And the actual thing that he said to my friend was, has Ayrton hired like some more team members internally? And I'm like, no. Because I had this fear of like, because I had the high month, then I would spend the money on new gear or a camera. And then I'll be like, low month, I'm like, shit, I've got all this work because I'm doing all the delivery. So it'd be like sales, delivery, and like this roller coaster. And the problem was every time I had money, I would spend it on gear or something else come up. I wouldn't invest in the team. So I was spending on myself, and I'll keep all the money to myself. I was afraid to invest in team. And it wasn't until I had that realization, I was like, fuck, that is the thing that stopped me.
Yes.
And for me, it was actually hiring my first VA. Not a big expense, but it was about $3,000 to get started with like the company I got with. And then it was like a consistent minimum 3 months. So I had to pay this person, plus I had to create the task for them.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, what if the business falls apart? Like I always had this mindset, like what if it stops? What if no sales come in? And this is like the same thing with creatives. Like they always get stuck and like, well, I've had this big month, and then but what if no deals come?
Yeah.
So the hiring a team member was the first step, and actually investing in another coach or a mentor that can work with you at that point was for me as well, was the thing that took me from that 20K months to consistently 50K plus months. Like it was a massive shift, was team. And even for where I'm right now in business, the next step is not just team, it's A-player team members to bring in. To get to 150K months, which is one of my goals. It's like, yeah, I can do all the work. But that's been selfish, because what I'm really good at is like just being present with my clients. Sales, I'm currently doing, I love it. I've got to get myself out of it, because like my calendar's only so full. I'm really good at delivering and getting clients massive results. So I got to find where my genius zone is and spend time there. So that ceiling that people hit, especially in creatives, that 10, 15, the next step thing is usually team. And it's also usually getting really clear on what outcome and what type of business you want to build. Because the truth is, you're at 10K and then you say you want to get to 15K because you just think about money. One of the big lessons I learned from one of my mentors at the same time when I figured out I needed a team, let me ask you this question, right? And you can answer this truthfully from the response. Say you're doing 15K or 20K a month. To get to 15K, which is, 50K a month, that's double your current business revenue. Do you think it's double the amount of work based on what I just asked?
I don't think so.
Maybe because you're doing some coaching with me and you find out, you understand team.
No,
but initially, if you didn't have team, you think if you're flat out right now and you're going to double the business in 30 days, you think it's double the work. That is a common belief that holds people back. Because if I ask you, what do you value more, money or time?
Time. 100% time.
So doubling your business equals more money, but you value time. So you won't actually go and pursue the work or get the clients and get the thing. However, you're thinking as yourself. You're not thinking as the business. Businesses make money and they've got to pay staff. So if you look at it through the lens of like hiring more team members, and that's where that next step is, you don't hire them full time. You get them on contractors and then slowly upgrade them into full-time employees. That's how you get your time back. But that's also the thing that allows you to get to the next level in business, because then you can focus on sales and marketing. So that's where I feel, if you're at that 10, 15K a month, the block, and look, I've coached a lot of dudes and I've had this conversation, I've been there. The block is usually you're afraid to invest in team because you don't have consistent cash coming in. But it's also, you've got to have a team to be able to go and pursue more deals. So you got to just think, do you value your pocket being really full, or are you going to take a bit of a sacrifice for a month or two, get your shit sorted, invest in team, and then take it to the next step?
Then what's the next big thing from your perspective, from 40K to, let's say, the hundreds?
So the 40K, the hundreds, there's a couple of guys who are working at this very moment. It's like they've got team on board. Now it's really systemizing the business and getting the owner out of the business. Because even for myself, like, because I run the coaching business, like that's my main focus. Doing 50, 60, 70K months, like I've done some, high months, 100K months. I don't want to be in the business as much as I am right now. So the bottleneck for me, and this is just sharing from current experience, because I see every business kind of the same level, just different net revenue plans. We have a small team together. The next 12 months for me is to get the fuck out of everything. Still do coaching with some one-on-one clients, the clients I want to work with, but I need to get myself out of the business and stop doing delivery, sales, and pull myself out, because then the business will take it to the next level. Because the product is great. What we sell and what we do is amazing. Same with filmmakers. Like once you systemize your processes, you're at that next level. You need to get yourself out of the business. So you got to stop filming. You got to stop doing the sales. You got to stop, which sounds, the filmmakers like, but I fucking love filming. I don't want to stop doing this. I'm not saying stop doing it. I'm just saying stop doing the client work. You can do your creative projects out of that.
It's a hard one. I get it. It's hard. I've gone through it. I know how it is, but it's the only way, buddy.
unless you want your business to stay at 25K, you can still be in it. And that's fine. Some people love that. Don't get me wrong. Like some people don't want to go and make $1 million business. You do. So you've got to get yourself out of delivery, because you can't be shooting every day and doing sales. Because the whole shoot day, I remember when I used to shoot, fuck, energy, dude. Like the whole day, you're out. And if you have sales calls that night, you can't take the energy, you can't spend the time, you can't follow up with leads. You're exhausted. It doesn't matter how many coffees or Red Bulls you have, you can't fucking energetically do that.
100%.
So something needs to give. And that's that next pivot. I've had a couple of clients who are in that transition of going to, some are aiming for 100K months. They've got some team members on board. It's now getting them out of the business. So that's all we talk about. And it's, it's quite difficult, because there's usually, if you're fully creative, you're entwined into everything. Like your weeds, like you're grounded in the business. I started the business. And not only that, you have this belief that your customers only want you. So that's why they're around. That's fucking a lot of shit.
Belief,
One of my clients in Toronto, absolutely love working with, been working with him 12 months now. And he has that belief. And because he's built this brand, he works with high-end real estate. Like we've been working the last maybe 3 months to pull him out of this, because he had this belief like everyone wants me, and like he charges really premium prices. Like, and he gets amazing clients. He does amazing work. I said, bro, what do you really want? So I want to build a business that like runs itself. It's like, cool. You are not fucking shooting anymore. You say no to everyone. And we created what's called a fuck off price for him, which is he's so expensive. If you want to hire him, if you really want him, you're going to pay him triple. And no one wants to pay that. So he's got team members that they got to work with. And we did a whole rebrand of his business just to get that working, which now he's on that path. He's in transition for doing that. So yeah, to answer that question, that next kind of 40, 50 up to 100K is actually pulling yourself out of the business.
And having systems and processes to be able to do that. Okay, someone's listening to this and it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna, start putting myself into a journey of getting to the next level. I think one thing that became a problem for me for a long time was not having systems and processes. What would you say, in your own experience, are the minimum that you should have if you're trying to become, let's say, a business owner, for the business to continue to grow and kind of like slowly transition to the next level in terms of systems? Yeah.
So it depends where you obviously are in your journey, because systems is a very broad way of saying, because there's a system how you get up in the morning. There's a system how you make your coffee, right? So we're going to decide what systems are important at what stages of business, because you don't go and build finance systems and all these high level stuff that big corporations build when you're starting out. You'll be focusing on your product system. So a really good way to explain this, I call it the five ones, is your first, let's say 6 figures, even your first $1 million, you should be thinking like this. It's a really good book you should read, which is Built to Sell. Don't know if I recommend to you just yet, but you should read it. Just finished reading it for probably the 3rd time. And it's a really simple way. It doesn't teach this, what I'm about to teach you, but it is the same concept. So there's this rule of 5 ones. You want to have one avatar that you're working with. You want to have one product that you have created for the avatar. You want to have one sales process, and then one traffic source for 1 year. You want to focus on that. You do have other ways that people come in. So people come from referrals, but you want to keep it simple. That's the first system you need to develop, is like that I call it the conveyor belt method. That's what obviously our program is all about. Having that one process, that way that people come in, you sell one thing. Because the more you add in, the more systems you have to build. And this is where filmmakers go, I want to sell brand story videos and all this kind of stuff. Yes, you can package it up into one system. And then you systemize that system first. And the first, if you want to break it into departments of a business, you've got sales, marketing, You got delivery, you've got your finances, and then you've got HR kind of stuff where it's human resources. When you're starting out, it can get overwhelming because you've got to wear all the hats. So as the CEO or the business owner, the first department you need to work on is the delivery. That's the first system one you do. So you systemize your product, you systemize getting editors on board and filmmakers, and that's where a majority of your first, even to like $25,000, $30,000 a month is focused on. Then you will build your sales and marketing systems that you can then build a sales team, bring on the salespeople to run that. Those are the first two like pillars of the business that you'll build. From there, when you get to say like six figures a month, you work on different shit, right? Which we don't currently have any guys doing 100K per month just yet. That's my goal in the next kind of 18 months to get some guys there, because that stuff is like getting, you know, financial operators and teams and CFOs and like all that kind of shit into your business, right? So the starting point, if you're a filmmaker that's not really understanding what a system is, you want to like systematize how you edit your videos. You want to have them standardized. You want to have a step-by-step process that you can pass it off to an editor, right? Simple way is you can put it into like a Notion document or something like that. Just like start documenting it. A really cool way to think about this as well is you shouldn't actually be creating all the systems. This is where like a lot of people go, oh shit, I've got to have all these systems. I've got to go create them all. No, get your team to create them. Show them, give them a template. And like, if you want to reach me out on Instagram, I've got a template you guys can have. Give them a template to fill in and create a system for you, because how they do it, you might not do it that way. Like the way my video edits get edited, I don't know how to do that. So how do I create a system on that? I don't. Give that to my editor. And that way, if I create the system, guess what? If he leaves, I can plug someone else into it. Same with my VA and same with my support coaches, my team members. I've like got them to create systems for two reasons. One, so they don't fuck it up. But two, if they leave, I'm not fucked.
Yeah, 100%. You're protected.
Yeah, because then it's documented. Like how I run a coaching call, even how I run my calls is systemized. So I can hire people, right? So for a filmmaker, videographer, the first system is your delivery. And also your personal life. That's more of a personal one, but systemize your delivery and then it goes to sales.
Just to add to that, because someone might be listening to this and they'll be like, wait, but in practical, what can I use? What kind of software or apps or anything could you use to get started in everything you just said? Like some recommendations you can give.
So the first way I think I always suggest is it's not the tech that's going to solve the problem. It's understanding a visual map. So something I do with clients first is we start and we actually, you create your customer's journey in a visual timeline. So you do that first. That's the first step. Understand how you go from someone coming in as a client, if they come from referrals, is it from paid ads, how they come through, to the sales, to your delivery, and you just map that out. From there, that's a program you can use for that as Lucidchart. Very simple. There's one, Miro, I think it's called. I use both of them. I keep my systems either in a Google Doc, like an SOP, or in Notion. I've actually just recently transferred over to Notion. I find Notion's really simple, especially for creators. It's very simple to use. The other tool that I use is Monday. Now, the reason I use Monday is more for tasks for my team, so they can manage all the steps that needs to be done. And that's just a tool. But I create the visual map first, then I create the SOPs and the major tasks, and then I use the tool. So the thing that you'll see in marketing, obviously, because I sell shit, these marketing tools, they sell you the shiny thing, you're thinking that's the solution. It's not. You've got to, first of all, sit down, think about what are the systems you actually need. Because you probably, like if you're doing $10,000 a month, you probably don't need to have a full financial system of how you can, like, you just need to get money in the door. You need to fix your sales problem and your marketing, get clients. Once you fix that, then you have a delivery problem. So tools, Lucidchart, Monday, Notion. Notion's probably my favorite at the moment. They're the simple tools.
Yeah. I will add to that Calendly.
Calendly, yeah.
100%. That tool is game changer. Now we're transitioning to a different one with what we're doing, but Calendly blew my fucking mind.
When did you start using that?
I started probably November last year or something.
Yeah, okay.
And it was from another marketing guy as well. He came to me, he's like, wait, how are you booking your clients? I'm like, what do you mean? Like an email and whatever, we find out what's the suitable time for both. He's like, dude, Calendly.
I learned about Calendly in 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my very first business coaches, and this is more on a personal system, right? Because we're obviously talking marketing, sales systems there, but a personal system that most people don't actually spend time on. It actually frustrates me when I chat to a client and they're like, I don't have time. And I'm like, okay, show me a calendar. And they're like, I'm not using one. So like, how do you know you don't have time?
Yes.
So my first business coach was like, you want to use a calendar on a day.
Yes.
Like I am weeks in advance already got stuff planned in my calendar. Before I start the day, I already know what's happening. So a calendar is a good system.
Yep.
If you don't have that, and that's leading on with Calendly, link them both together.
Yeah.
You
It's
should
like
be blocking in
powerful
stuff.
combination,
Yeah,
right?
that's
there.
probably that's
Yeah.
more of like a productivity system that people probably don't do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, 100%. Calendly, have your Google Calendar set up, and one that you should be using some sort of invoicing system
Yeah.
and accounting system. Xero is what we use, and it's awesome. Coaching. How much have you invested in yourself?
Look, I don't really want to say in case my partner listens to this. No, she knows. Over 100K, like cash, not on credit cards, like out of my bank account, already spent. And that's what I've calculated. There's probably a little bit more on the courses and stuff that I purchased over the year. A lot, right? I actually don't feel like that's a lot, but for some people, that's their first goal
They'll
in
be like,
business.
what?
Yeah.
100K?
My mentors have spent like $500,000, some of them have spent millions of dollars on coaching. I'm like, fuck, I wish, it's like, yeah, a lot.
Tell me about your coaches, because you have spent a significant amount in coaches. How has that changed for you? Who was your first coach? What did you jump in after him? What are you currently working on with your current coaches, and how many do you currently have?
Good question. So when I first started out, which was 2016, that was when I was starting to pick up a camera. My very first mentor was a guy named Vin Zhang. And
By the way, pause there. I can't wait to do his workshop. Since I came across his content like maybe 4 months ago or something, I'm like, fuck, I want to do his courses so bad. He's so good at communication. Sorry, keep going.
He's amazing. He changed my life in a way that he does know. I've told him multiple times. But when I first met him, he was from Facebook. I saw his content. And growing up as a kid, I was always the shy kid. And I was always a little bit of a class clown at school because I didn't know how to speak. And I'm dyslexic. So I spell everything backwards. So I struggled to communicate. Really struggled. Had no confidence. Like people who see me today, they're like, bro, like you're really fucking confident. Like you're sales master. And like, yeah, I didn't fucking start like this. Like I was like the most coordinated kid. I couldn't even think about what to say before I said it until I met this guy Vin. And when I met him, I was just through Facebook and I remember him doing this post. He was running he started his journey in doing workshops, and this is like 2016. So he's still he used to do like keynote speaking and stuff like that. And I was inspired by him because he was like who I wanted to be. And I was like, man, I love your voice. I love how you communicate. I want to be like that because I fucking suck. And I was scared of being in front of camera. Like I wanted to start vlogging because I started watching Casey Neistat, and I was like trying to speak in front of the camera, like just frozen. Like I couldn't speak. So saw one of his posts on Facebook. I was like, bro, he's running this workshop and like he's looking for 10 beta clients to come to his first, he wanted to test his thing out.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's heaps of people applying. I was like, shit, how am I going to apply for this?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd been trying to message him and I'd trying to get in contact with him because I was just like a young kid trying to learn shit from any mentor I could figure out. Anyway, I got in contact with him. I sent him for a video that I created, which was this video of me working at a petrol station. And like, it was this story I had that I was going from this unsuccessful petrol station operator to a successful entrepreneur. I had no success at that point, but I created this video and that was my first kind of marketing video. Well, it wasn't marketing. It was just like a fun video I made with my mates.
Yeah.
I sent that to him. He's like, bro, you've got to come to the workshop. He said that to me.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, fuck, this is great. It was in Adelaide. So I was in...
By the way, this is how you get your foot in the door with someone that you really want to work with. You put some energy and thinking into it. You get creative.
I didn't just go, no what mentor is going to suddenly come. Like I had like probably $200 in my bank account at the time. And I was with my one of my partners at the time. And I remember it was a couple of days before Christmas. I think it was 22nd of December at 2016. And I decided not to get flights over there because I couldn't afford it and it was cheaper to drive because I had a really cheap fuel car and it was going to cost maybe $60 of fuel to get there and $60 back. And I only had $300 in the bank account. And I didn't know how much the workshop was going to cost because he didn't say what the price was. I was like, fuck, if it's like $400, what do I say? Can I just get it a payment plan or something? I was so nervous. So we ended up driving across to Adelaide Took like, 8 hours of driving there. We stayed in this like $25 a night like Airbnb above some Asian lady's house in a little shack. It was the cheapest, shittiest, cringiest looking thing, but it was great because I was like, I just want to go to this workshop. And I remember going to the workshop and meeting him. I was in awe. It's like, man, this is like the first time I'm meeting this guy. I'm like, I've seen him on Facebook, and like
Fanboy, completely fanboy.
I was fanboy. I was
Yeah.
like, I remember like I didn't know what to expect to the workshop, but
Yeah.
at the workshop, to keep the story short, is I did this one exercise where he made me yell in front of all these strangers, and I was like so frozen, like how like I can't even speak. And then he got me to tell a story and read a book, and because I was dyslexic, I was so embarrassed and shy of reading this book, and like I was stumbling words in front of all these people I'd never met before. But the most growth came from that. Like that moment of me reading the book, I was so uncomfortable, like made me expand my like uncomfortableness. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just master this. And one of the things I took away from the workshop, it was great to meet him. Like it really helped me. And we did some exercises and stuff afterwards. He said, dude, if you want to do video, if you want to do like speaking, get better at this stuff, you need to practice every day. You need to film yourself. This is how I got into video. It's like I saw him. He actually had a video production company.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he used to go and film.
Yeah, his videos are pretty good.
Yeah, so he had a video guy he actually owned the production company, but they would go to like keynote events and film it, and that's how he made money. And he was the guest speaker, and then he would sell them on the thing. Right. I was like, bro, that's so fucking smart.
That's clever.
I think, but at the time I was like, 20. I think I was 21 at the time, or 22. And I was like, man, like I want to be like that. So like I took away and I started filming myself every day, and I've got literally hundreds of videos of me just practicing speaking in front of camera. So that was my first mentor, which started the journey. And like I got to the workshop, I ended up not having to pay anything. He's like, it's free, but
wow,
it was incredible because I drove there. And I remember driving there $0 and like a couple of days before Christmas, and my parents were like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I just felt like that was the thing I need to do.
Sick.
So like fast forward, other mentors over the years I've had, ones in mindset, money. I've had some business, Facebook ad guys, sales guys. Like every mentor's had a different flavor and a different thing. And every time I invest in one, it's always at a different point in my journey where I'm struggling. So my next kind of big breakthrough mentor was when I actually sold my last production company. So 2017 to 2018, went to six figures, did really well in our production business, but I had to sell the production business because me and my business partner had a split. On the day I sold it, decided, fuck it, I'm going to move to Perth. I'd never been to Perth. It's like, I needed something new. I needed to get out of my hometown. I needed to expand. My mentor that I ended up signing up with was in Perth, and I'd already known him through Facebook ads. And because I'd seen his ads for so long, I wanted to work with him. And I reached out to him. I actually want to get a job with him, but he wouldn't hire me because I'm a fucking entrepreneur. You cannot hire me. I'll come in and learn because I want to go inside a business.
Yeah, exactly.
So he knew that, and he ended up. I remember getting him to Perth, and I'd met him in person. And it was a couple months later where I was really struggling. Like I just sold my last production business. I'd moved to Perth, and I was doing some Facebook ad and marketing and a little bit of video. I wasn't like really focusing on the next video business just yet. I was kind of finding my feet. Got to a point where like a couple of weeks behind in rent. I had no money coming in, and I knew marketing and sales. Like I had the skills, like obviously a lot more advanced now, but I had the skills of knowing how to sell, but I couldn't sell shit. I was literally throwing shit at the wall. And I remember going to my partner at the time. I was like, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know. What the fuck do I do? And she's like, why don't you get a coach? Why don't you get a mentor? And that time, like the most investment I spent was on courses and stuff like that. So maybe like a couple of $1,000s. I hadn't invested like 5 or 10K into a coach just then. And I was like, fuck it. All right. I'll put a post on Facebook. 40 people like commented on it like as a coach. Yeah. And then he reached out. I was like, bro, like, what do you need help with? I'm like, right now I have 2 weeks behind rent. I have like about $1,000 in the bank account. And yeah, I have no money coming in. He's like, bro, trust me, we got you. And like, he let me come in as a deposit. I ended up putting on a payment plan, getting sorted, but it was like 5 or 6K for the first program. And that was a lot of money. I tried to call my family. Can anyone lend me money? He was like, no, you can't have it. I'm like, all right. I was like, can I just join? I promise I'll pay it back in the first month. I'll do whatever I can. Like, I'll just fucking listen to you. And he said, cool, we got you, bro. Because I knew him, I got him in person. Like, I'm really thankful that he gave me that opportunity. Because first month we made $10,000. Second month, $20,000. That was so like 30,000. Within 7 months, we'd done over 100K cash collected. just from one of the strategies he taught me, which leads into today. I teach that exact same strategy to my clients, which is paid marketing.
Yeah.
Because I was in that new city. I had no referrals. I had no network. I had no portfolio. And I needed to sell. And working with him really changed my life. Like, it was one of the most impactful moments, because I was in a hole that I was like thinking about going and getting a job at Harvey Norman and going, fuck this, like business is fucking hard. And that was after I'd already had a 6-figure business. So that's where people think, oh, once you get a 6-figure business, suddenly you're successful. No. That's going to be fucking... Even I think I've talked to you recently about the mountain. You climb the fucking mountain. You're climbing really high. And you're like, you know what? This is really fucking hard. So you don't know when the end point. So you can't... Climbing that Mount Everest. And then you get to the top and you see the view and you're like, you know what? Fuck, that was really hard. Because you gotta take a moment. But then you get that glorious view. And then there's the next fucking mountain.
Which is exciting thing, because you don't want to get to the top and not have another mountain. That's the cool thing about life, is that once you get to the top of that mountain, there'll be another one to climb. That's what makes it fun. Imagine if you just get to the top and it's like, oh, okay, cool. What do we do now?
Well, humans, I was talking to my mate Christopher, who's a more spiritual sound healer. He's one of my other coaches I've worked with a fair bit over the years, not on business. And this is where a lot of my coaching, to answer your question leading forward, is I don't do a lot of business coaches now. Like, I'm more on the spiritual kind of, how do I unblock and get to the next level in my inner self? So it's like, I understand the marketing, I've got that sales. I still learn and study that stuff, but that's kind of like my bread and butter, and I get to do it every day. Now I'm doing more of the inward journey for the last couple of years. And that's where I've met spiritual mentors in different scenarios. I've done psychedelics. I've done that kind of stuff.
This is exactly where I wanted to get, because one thing I've noticed with you, and so I'm working closely with a lot of business coaches, and I've met a lot of them as well through the podcast and through relationships and stuff in the past 6 months. And I've been learning about a completely different universe that I didn't know existed. You know, from psychics to manifestation coaches to quantum physics coaches to healers to this to that. That to a lot of people, this will sound insane. This is crazy. Like, how are they making money? How are this? You know, now I get it afterwards. But my question was, obviously you have had all the different coaches for the practical things and let's say the business side of things. But now, how much are you into the woohoo stuff and how has it helped you? You know what, like, I'm curious to hear the different coaches you have had that are out of the ordinary, let's say.
Yeah. So what sparked the change in the type of coaches I started investing with is like, and this is the same. I think there's points where you've got to learn the business fundamentals and you've got to work with like the very business coachy. And like I am like that with my clients, and I want to introduce them to the spiritual stuff because it is a bit weird, it's a bit different. But the point was for me is I had a spiritual awakening like 2020 when my ex broke up with me. Like it came down like a fucking ton of bricks on me and fucking destroyed me. Like business was going well, but was spending so much time on the business, like 7 days a week hustling. I didn't spend any time in the relationship. And she left me because she fell out of love. And I was like, that fucking hit me like a ton of bricks. And not only that, when she broke up with me, 2 days before that, I just signed up to my new coach. And it was like the universe aligned at this time because like I came to the first coaching call with him and was like, broken. I'm like, bro, I just got broken up with. he was like, right. You should not be doing any business stuff right now. You need to do an inwards journey. He was very spiritual. And that's why I was kind of attracted to him because he was a business coach making a shit ton of money, but he had this weird different way of doing it. Like it wasn't just like the traditional, like run ads, do sales. It's like this more holistic way. And that's why I was attracted to him. He's like the first call I had with him. He's like, bro, you need to do some work on like your inner child. You need to work on like yourself right now. And like, sit here and find out what the lessons you are that you need to learn from this breakup, because it happened. I created it, right? Like everything that I have in my life, I created. So that was like the awakening of me going, you know what? I need to do this inward journey. So then I started like getting into like cards, crystals, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I met one of my good friends a couple of months later at a mastermind who he started talking about like psychedelics and how he changed his life. And he had started off his career being a real estate agent. He was like very gung-ho guy, kind of like my story. Like my first couple of years of business, I was like 7 days a week, hustle. he introduced like, have you ever done psychedelics? I'm like, no, I've never done it. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I'm a new child here. Fucking anything spiritual, dude, throw it at me. I'm tested. So he invited me to a retreat. I think it was in April 2021. And this is probably one of the most pinnacle and breakthrough times for me in business life up until this day. Went to this retreat. I'd never done psychedelics. We did like 6 grams of like...
Was it mushrooms?
Yeah, mushrooms. Very spiritual kind of retreat. Like, this was friends and like a couple of other guys. And we went there. It was just a men's group. So it was just men. We did some psychedelics. I'm like, man, I first started doing it. I'm like, nothing's happening. I was like, had this ego. I was like, no, nothing's happening. And maybe I'm just, so supreme that this can't like, touch me. And then fucking boom. The ceiling and the roof just went whoop. And I was like, whoa.
One of my best mates, he's like that. He's like, I've been telling him, bro, I think you should do psychedelics. I think it would open new ways of thinking for you and see life very differently. I've done it a few times now. And he's like, I don't think it will do anything to me. And I'm like, boy, you're in for a treat.
That's the ones that it works the most on, because they're like, they got this ego. And I had an ego of like, no, I'm the best. But it gave me an ego death, because we did obviously a full weekend of it. And it was more of a spiritual scenario. So like a lot of people do, psychedelics as a fun, like, going clubbing. Like, that wasn't what we're doing. We were doing it more in a spiritual kind of personal growth weekend. And one of the biggest lessons I got out was like, up until that point, I never felt like I was ready or worthy. I never felt like I had the skills to go and step into what I'm actually doing right now. Because that was the point that I was running my video production business. We're doing 25, 30K months. I wasn't really enjoying it. I was just doing it for money. And I didn't have a purpose with it. I kind of lost the purpose. Like I lost what I was there for. But I loved coaching. I loved like working with clients. And that retreat kind of sparked it 6 months later, ended up happening, is where I transitioned into coaching for filmmakers. Because my heart was like, I just want to fucking help. I want to teach people what I know, because like I get it, and like we've made money. I know I've made my clients money. I know how to do it. I know how to simplify it. And like, but there's that point that at the retreat where I'd done this psychedelic trip, there's like I come away saying I'm ready. I'm ready, and it was an incredible experience. A couple weeks later, I had the biggest breakdown of my life after that, where it went from like this high to the deepest fucking part of my life, where everything fell apart in the business. And it's because I started letting go of clients I wasn't aligned with. And then money stopped coming in because I wasn't aligned with that. So it was like an alignment shift. And it was good, because I needed to go into a dark place where we basically had, again, I had no money. After doing 30K months, this is where like a lot of people see success online. They don't share the troubles. We've done some big months, but they've had some really shit months. And I had a couple of shit months in 2021, like May, I think it was, where I had $0 coming in. I had to give a refund to a client because we didn't get the result that we were promising. I couldn't sell. I was like, fuck. I jumped on calls trying to sell everything: the kitchen sink, the kettle, the toaster, the whole house, and trying to put it on discount. And no one would buy it. And it was fucking hard. And that was probably one of the pinnacle points after the mushroom trip. That was like, I need to stop doing the thing that I don't love and start doing the thing I want to do, which was switching into coaching. And probably about 6 months after that, I fully switched into it. I got my video business back on track, and then I ended up closing that down and then switching full into coaching. But in that moment, I found out that I had some money beliefs as well that weren't serving me. I didn't feel worthy of money. Had to fix that. So yeah, spiritual can go like a lot deeper than that. But like my spiritual coaches, there come at different points. Like one was at the start of my breakup. He kind of got me on the path of like, these guys like David Deere, The Superior Man, like books like that to listen to. I've had other coaches that, introduced me to psychedelics, and then others that introduced me to, like Christopher, one of my good friends, introduced me to sound healing and stuff like that. So there's all these different modalities that I've done that up until now, like now I can wake the fuck up and I can be on a sales call, and if you say no to me, I don't care. Like I just want to be there to help you. And people can feel that fucking energy. Like when I'm on a coaching call, and I get to challenge my clients now, because I see them in their shit and I'm like, bro, I was there. I've been there. Stop being in your own little pity party. Like get the fuck out of that. And that's because I've done this inner work. Which a lot of people don't do until they've fucked up their business at least once.
And it all comes with mindset first. Like it's impossible to build a successful life, a successful relationship, a successful business if you haven't done some work in your mindset, because your mindset will dictate your reality,
100%.
right? Books. You read a lot.
I
You're
do.
an avid reader.
I do.
Top 5, you gave us already one.
Yeah.
So top 5 books that you think any creative entrepreneur should read in order to build their ultimate reality.
So these ones are ones I personally recommend all the time to clients. The first one's going to be Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. That was one of those books where I was sharing like that dark moment that I was at, having those money beliefs. It's a book around rewiring your money beliefs, because a lot of us see, if you see $10,000 a lot of money, that's because you have a belief around that. For someone else, I see that honestly as $10. So I go and collect more of it because I need more $10 notes to equal 100, right? So that is one of the first books I'd always recommend. The second one is The Miracle Morning. It's a very simple, get your shit sorted in the morning kind of book. Very simple. The third one would be $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. This is more of a business structured one on offerings, right? And I'd read these in order. So Miracle Morning, and then I would read the Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. $100 Million Offers would be the next one. How many on there? 4? Is that, we're at 4? I think I'm at 4.
You're on 4
I think I'm
now.
4.
Yeah.
The fifth one, this is going to be,
No, sorry. You were about to
I'm
say
about to
the
say 4.
4.
So we've got 2 more. Depends where someone is, but if I was going to look back at my journey, what's the books that I have? Those ones are like later in my journey, but some early ones that I've read. One was Start With Why by Simon Sinek, and that was all about finding what your why was within your business and having that. Like, I know customers work with me because I share them my truth, and they understand that I actually genuinely fucking care about them. That was a really powerful thing that I've had in business. Last one would be, if it's more of a business one, would be Build a Story Brand
I haven't
by
heard
Donna
of that
Miller.
one. Yeah, okay.
That is more of a marketing, and it's probably the simplest marketing book I have read in terms of helping people. Like, if you think about a videographer specifically, or creative, like, you're not the hero in your fucking story in your business. Your customer is. So you tell your customer's story by sharing your own testimonials, your results that you help your customer. So it's all about, you're the guide in your customer story. So for me, I'm the mentor. Like, this story, we can talk about me, but at the end of the day, my clients are the fucking hero of their own businesses. I'm not their hero. I'm their guide. That's what they're looking for. If I say I'm the best, you should work with me because I'm the best, no one's going to fucking work with me. Same with like the filmmakers and videographers. They go, I'm the best filmmaker. Cool. You have $0 in your bank account because you're saying that. You got to let go of that ego. You go, no, I'm going to help my customer. So 5 books, a mixture of, mindset books and sales and marketing books. But that would be my top 5.
I like that. I like those. What's the worst advice you have ever received?
It's actually from one of my very first business coaches. And I love this advice because it held me back for a good years. But it was one of the very first things that I had this intuition when I started my first video business. I knew I was going to be a coach. And I said to her, because I started reading all these books, and I started reading like Russell Brunson. I learned about coaching, consulting, and I was like, I should be a business coach for filmmakers. And I said that in the first year of my business. And she's like, filmmakers don't make a lot of money. Like, that's not a good market. And I was like, she's my business coach because she was one of our clients as well. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably true. So I didn't step into business coaching for 4 years because I heard that advice. And then I had this epiphany. I was like, I fucking spend money on coaching.
Yeah.
I spend money on gear. I'm a filmmaker, videographer. That's like, I was like, huh. So it's the worst advice, but I also appreciate that because it held me back to go learn all the things I know now. Because if I had started coaching filmmakers in my first year of video, I would have been coming from a place of lack, not a place of abundance.
Yes.
So that was the worst piece of advice, but technically I'd probably
That's
get...
so interesting. Like, someone could have stopped you from doing what you're doing, basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What's the best advice you have ever received?
Trust your journey. That everything's going to work out. That if you're in a hard time right now, learn the lessons from that and trust the process. The more you trust it, the more you get to receive the lessons. And that advice is as a tattoo on my arm that says trust your journey. It's my kind of motto for life, is like, whenever you're in a shit moment, people say it in different ways, but trust the process. If you're in a shit moment right now, trust it. Things will work out. It will get fucking better. Like, trust me. I've been in some really dark places, that, I don't wish upon anyone. Even like a breakup, something that like tore me apart. It was one of the most, I couldn't even sleep at night for like literally 3 months. One of the worst things that happened to me, like as in like mentally, but one of the greatest things, because at the end of it, I found the love of my life. I've got an amazing partner right now. I've got an amazing business. A couple of years later, but it was those hard times is where it is. So trust your journey is the best piece of advice I've received.
Yeah, and in those dark moments, they're gonna build your story to be a much better story. You don't want a story in which everything went great for you as being the character of it. Oh yeah, he got everything.
Yeah,
He literally got everything he ever wanted.
If you think about as like like the hero's journey, right?
Yeah.
Like the hero doesn't become the hero to the end of the story. It's the journey that's the most important thing that we watch movies for, that we enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think of yourself as the hero of your own story, there's going to be some shit and lessons you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And those are things that create the action-packed movie at the end, where people get to sit at your funeral telling the story of how you changed people's lives or the impact that you had in the world.
Yeah.
So the journey is the most important part.
Yeah. You need the conflict. You need the difficult.
You need the difficult times to make a great story.
Yes. And once you also reframe the way you see them too, like understanding that it's okay. This is life. It's meant to be difficult. It's meant to be hard. It's meant to be enjoyable at times as well, and having the highs. But once you learn to reframe the mindset and the lens through which you're looking at your reality and understanding that, these lows are fine. Let me embrace them, because something I've been thinking a lot has been as well that it feels like I will never go back again to ground zero, because I've been there a few times by now. I went from being a dentist to, start from scratch, learning a new language, coming to the other side of the world, working in jobs that I never thought I would have to as being a dentist, pursue this crazy dream to make videos full time, lose everything on the way, lose all my money, have zero motivation, no way of how I was going to make it through. Had some sort of success, again, went back to it, COVID happened, all this stuff. Now things are way better, actually, like insanely better. I never thought it could get this good. And and now even where I'm heading, I'm just so excited because it's going to get 10x better, right? There's no limit to it. And now it's like, fuck, I will never go back to those times. I can't afford to go back to those times, right? Because I know I've been there many times. I will never allow myself to go back again. I will do everything in my power to build the future that I'm trying to build for me, for my family, for the creatives and entrepreneurs that I'm trying to help, and just try to have the biggest impact I can on this floating rock before I pass, trying to do some good and leave it better than what it was. So in a way, every time things get difficult now, I have to almost like, fuck, I'll never be at this point again. I need to enjoy it, because then once I get the financial freedom and all this shit,
and you look back,
I will always be talking about these moments.
Yeah.
Because once you get there, what I speak to with my best mate, with Guillaume, that he's on the same boat, and right now we're at the same level with business and all of that. So it's very exciting because every day we're literally just calling each other, dude, this didn't work, this went to shit, this worked, dude, you need to start doing this, this system is better, this is that, this happened with the client, whatever. So we're learning from each other, so we're fast tracking our way, and now we also have support, to even fast track even more that. But every time I find ourselves just talking and be like, fuck, right now it's been difficult or whatever, I'm just like, dude, imagine once we get everything we're working towards, we'll only be talking about these moments. We need to enjoy it,
Yeah.
So we talk about the advice that you have received, the best advice and the worst advice. What are the 3 pieces of advice that you will give your younger self or creative entrepreneurs out there to make their journey easier, better, more enjoyable, and successful?
First one, start reading books earlier. For me, I read my first book in 2016. I've now read hundreds of books, right? Up until that point, like I was naive. I thought reading was for like nerds and stuff like that. So the first one is like, start reading books. Like in school, I was terrible. I was dyslexic. I hated it. But when I'm out of that, now I'm reading books. I love them. So books would be the first thing. Start reading books. That would be my first advice to my younger self. The second one is like, everything's going to be okay. Like, as we just talked about the journey, like it's all going to turn out exactly how it's meant to. Might not turn out exactly how you want it to, and that's okay. So that's where you got to trust the journey. Third one is all the dots obviously connect, right? So when you look back in your life, look at the pinnacle points that's happened. I remember Steve Jobs, one of my favorite quotes is like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you must trust in your gut, karma, life, whatever, that the dots will line up in the future. And for me, when I look back, I can see where there's different points in my life that have changed the direction. And those points are the lessons where, breakups or like business failures or business partnerships or, clients saying no or meeting new people or things that I've done. And the lessons there are stuff that I can use today, stories that I can share with my customers, my clients, my friends, my family to help make an impact. So the dots only connect when you look backwards, not looking forwards. So those are the 3 P's.
Love that, especially the last one. Is there anything I didn't ask you today that you have a burning desire to share with creative entrepreneurs?
That's a really good question. I think we've covered a lot, right? And this is where, if you're creative and you're listening to this, right? My one last kind of final thing to share that I would love to cover off is, invest more in yourself than you do on the gear. Like I've spent over 100K in coaching and I will spend more. And I will do it not because I just want to have the ego of I've spent so much on coaching. I generally believe if for me to help my customers, I need to keep investing in myself. And it's the same with you want to get better at video or you want to get better if you run a graphic design business or whatever. Investing in yourself is going to have a bigger payoff than the actual tool. So buying a new camera, it's great. Makes you feel good in the moment, but it doesn't solve the problem of your fears and anxieties and stresses of, say, a sales call or, following up with clients or anything like that. So invest in yourself and start with that. For me, that's where I spent a lot of my money in my early years. I actually haven't spent a lot of money on gear until probably like the last 6 months is invest in yourself.
You are your biggest asset. Your level of personal development and understanding of yourself will determine the level of life that you can have. Brother, we're gonna have to do a fucking round 2. I still have so many questions, but we're on time. Where can people find you, learn about you, about what you do, connect? Yeah. Where can they find you?
So best place is Instagram. So Ayrton, it's my first name and last name on Instagram. It's the same on YouTube. Don't really post much on YouTube just yet. Maybe as this is coming up, maybe I have. But Instagram's the best place. If you ever want to reach out or get stuck in your business, if you're a filmmaker, videographer, look, watch some of our free content. We've got a shit ton of free content and I post every single day. My goal is to give so much value that you can go get to that first level in business that you can succeed. If you want that next step, you can always reach out to me as well. Again, we specifically work with filmmakers and videographers. So if you're watching that and you want help, if you just want to watch my content for free, do that. But Ayrton Settles, that's my Instagram handle.
All the links will be down below. As always, the best way to support the Creative Grid podcast for us to be able to reach more people and have a bigger impact and have legends like Ayrton today on the podcast. The best way to support us is to leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give your thoughts. Let people know that this is a great podcast, hopefully for you. 5 stars, nothing less than that. Follow us on all social media platforms at The Creative Grid. I'm at Nelfilev. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't. Let us know what were your thoughts of this episode, and we'll certainly have him for the second round. That will be awesome.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Oh, good, brother. Good vibes for everyone. You. How was that?
Yeah, bro. That was awesome.
Fuck yeah, bro.